Okay, gang, it's Chris Angel again with another episode of Connect, Share, Prosper. Here with Chaz Wilson, founder, CEO of Master. That's a fancy title. I really like that, Chaz. Founder and CEO.
Titles are so important.
Titles are everything.
Is that the episode? Are we doing titles or everything?
Titles are everything. Yeah. Or maybe not, but maybe it is how to be memorable. I think today we want to talk about how do we be memorable for people. So
that's it. So there's being memorable in good ways and being memorable in not so great ways. Right. What we're talking about is being memorable in when you deliver especially in a master network setting, your introduction, your soundbite, your showcase where you're displaying your business. But at any point, how do I be memorable? Mm-hmm. There's probably more people, like if you look left and right in your industry, there's people that do what you do. And how do you stand out and be memorable?
Yep.
I'm going to give you a quick story. And this is one maybe not to be memorable, but it was a great learning lesson for me. It was about 4.5 years ago or so. And I was at a Master Network chapter meeting, and it was showcase week. Somebody had the opportunity to get up and tell about their business. For whatever reason, this member had forgot that it was his week to give a showcase. And so the president, I overheard him say, "Hey, you're up, Chris, to do your showcase." And he's like, "Oh man, no worries, I can wing it." Now, hearing that, and one of my mentors always says, first of all, you never apologize for being a bad speaker. You never tell people you're not prepared.
Yeah.
You should be prepared at a moment's notice to talk about your business. You're an entrepreneur. This is what you do.
Yep.
You shouldn't need any other warning. Hey, you're on, go, right? So gets up, starts, doing a showcase. It was really bad. And of course, we open it up for feedback. And there was a visitor in the room, and she raised her hand. And, there was first a couple comments like, "Oh, I loved hearing about your story." And, people were just afraid to say what it was. She raises her hand and she says, "Well, forgive me for being new, and I'm not sure how this works, but I want to be honest about this because I'm looking at joining this group. It doesn't sound like you were prepared. It sounds like you were winging it. And so my concern is if I give you a referral, how are you going to treat my referral? Are you going to wing it?"
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy, what he does next is pivotal. Right?
Yes,
it's just,
right.
I could feel the awkwardness even as I tell the story.
Yeah.
He said, "No, thank you for the feedback. The truth is I wasn't prepared. The truth is I forgot it was my week. I should be prepared at a moment's notice to deliver. I appreciate your feedback. Here's the deal. You join this chapter, and when I come next time to do my showcase, or anytime you ask me to, I will be prepared to do it." So he took the advice well and so forth.
Wow.
But it always made me think, am I being prepared? Am I prepared, and am I being memorable in the way that I deliver my introduction, my showcase? So Today, I'm at a chapter meeting, and I'm watching everyone stand up and give their introduction. First of all, we're on wood floors. They're sliding their chairs as they're standing up and introducing themselves. You can't hear their name because you can hear the chair sliding on the wood.
At the same time, they're saying their name.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time they're saying their name, you can't even hear it. And then they kind of talk about what they do and they sit down. And I think, first of all, I'm not even sure what they do. I don't know their name. That wasn't memorable at all. So today, when it was my turn, I stood up and I walked right out to the middle of the room.
Nice.
Right? Just to get their attention, number one.
Yep.
And then I did some things, particular to my soundbite to help me be memorable. But this is the key, is do something different that's memorable, whether it be a prop, a saying. I always talk about, and I'll often say, I'm the guy with the red hair. Because it's something they visually see, they associate with me. And when I was a little kid, I hated it. But now I'm like, well, it's not going anywhere. At least it's still here, and it's red, and I'm not coloring it. So I'm going with it to try to make it be memorable, right? So find what you can to be memorable.
I think one more thing that pops up for me too is, and this goes to the chair thing where they're standing up saying their name as this chair is scratching on the floor. There's I always like to go to mindset and things, and I think sometimes we apologize for who we are. Like we don't feel maybe it's a worthiness thing. If you really dig deep, you could get down to like I'm not them. I'm not good enough to be that person.
Right.
And so we do these things to diminish how we show up. Which is being memorable. Like how you show up could determine how you're memorable. And if how your mindset going into it is I'm not worthy to be memorable, then we do these things to sabotage that, like standing up and pushing our chair out while we say our name.
So let me take that further in that, because I agree wholeheartedly. Most people don't know is because, as we started joking about title and so forth, as the president of the organization, I'm often asked to do keynote addresses around or trainings for companies. Mm-hmm. What most people don't know is that I was crazy shy kid, crazy shy. And my mom would vouch for this. She was at last Connect event we did, and she was like, yeah, I did like rip him off my leg to send him to school.
Wow.
And I couldn't look people in the eye. I couldn't shake their hand, which is a memorable thing. You need to look people in the eye and shake their hand. And so I'm often asked to do these keynotes. I have spoke and shared the stage with a lot of great people. I one time was with a Hall of Fame football player, and we were backstage, and he looked me in the eyes. I was about to get announced on stage, and he gave me a little fist bump, and he said, "Kill it, go get him." And I thought, here's this Hall of Fame football player that's going to go on stage after me, who's like, "You got this. It doesn't matter." And you have to be you. And I've shared the stage with people who I think give a presentation.
Yeah.
And the feedback I always get is, man, I really felt connected to you. It's because I am who I am. I've been through training that say, don't cry on stage. Don't let anybody see you cry. Man, last year, for those that were at Connect, saw me cry on stage. I'm not, it's a little embarrassing. But the truth is, listen, I just had this moment of gratitude for the people in this room. And we had a color guard come into the room before, a bunch of high school kids in the ROTC program, and presented the colors. And sad thing, we're doing it again this year. So I'm prepared this year to not have it hit me. But here I get on stage, and I've got all these entrepreneurs. Man, we got people who come to this country for the opportunity to do what we get to do every single day.
Yeah.
And we had people complaining about the speed of the internet at the hotel, or their sheets weren't comfortable enough or whatever. And I'm like, man, we got people who fight and die for our ability to do what we get to do every day.
Yeah.
There was a sense of gratitude that hit me, and it touched me on stage. Right. And I remember thinking from all my training, like, crap, I let them see me cry. And then I got off stage, and I had people come up to me and give me a hug and be like, man, this is why I'm part of this organization, because we have leaders who care.
Yep.
And so you have to be memorable, but underneath all of that is be who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's why I'm excited about your next book whenever that comes out. Like the self-awareness piece, that is such a big thing right now for I think for our country, or us as a people, right? Like that we start to step into. Self-awareness gives you the place to ground yourself into what you are good at. You're not good at everything.
Yeah.
Of course not. But find what you are good at, and then honor that, and bet on that, and then bring that to the places where you're trying to be memorable.
No, so true. And isn't it interesting that like this was such a challenge for me as a young kid, and now it's what I'm known for, is getting out and speaking and it's crazy.
Yeah. I think that's, I don't know, where was it for you that you found the switch? Like what switch was it? Was it content that made you able to do it? Was it being a leader for your people that allowed you to do it? What?
Well, it goes back to, I really think, the last episode we did, which was mentors and coaches. Yeah. And I had a mentor that said to me, look, I know this is going to be uncomfortable for you, but if you want to build a world-class, world-reaching organization, you're going to have to be in front of people. You're going to have to teach and train. And he said, now, if you're willing to do it, I'll work with you and I'm going to help you. And what was really interesting is there really wasn't as many blocks to remove as I thought. Like I had all these, and quickly I just battled through all of them. Now, the key is, when we talk about being memorable, is delivering messages that are memorable. And that's actually not that difficult if you're authentically who you need to be.
Right.
It's really not as hard.
I think too, it sounds like when you got clear about who you had to be to fulfill the vision you had, that gave you the place to stand, or the place to come from, to take the action. It got easier once you were clear about where you wanted to go.
It's like when I was teaching my kids to ride a bike, and you take off those training wheels and you hold the back of that bike and you kind of push them along. It's funny how for a long time they're pedaling and don't realize I've let go.
Yeah.
And I think having that mentor behind me that said, you can do this, I'm going to help you. And then all of a sudden I look behind and realize he let go a long time ago. Yeah. You know what? I can do this.
Right.
And that was helpful for me to get through that block.
I love it. So if people want to take the next step into being memorable, like what are some action items for people to be memorable?
Well, I think that first of all, they have to look at who they are, and not try to be somebody they're not. But it's then crafting a message that speaks to people. Like it's tough to say exactly because everybody's coming from different places. You have to find what is unique to you and then deliver it in a way that's memorable. So for instance, I'll give you a good one I heard this morning. This guy has this soundbite and he does social media, Google placement, right? And he says, look, if you want to bury a body, do it on the second page of Google, but that's not where your business should be. And I'll show you, right? It's super clever. It's memorable. I've only heard it 3 times and I remember it all the time because he says it every single time and it's memorable. Yeah. You look at master marketer Seth Godin. He's a short, bald guy and he wears big big colored glasses, green, orange, whatever, because he talks about, I'm the guy with the big glasses and colored glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it might be, just be you, but try to, craft it in a way that's memorable.
I know. I just went through, there's an exercise in the back office.
Yes.
Where you can actually go through and work through some questions that help you start to find out what is my soundbite or how can I articulate me being memorable. That was super helpful for me. So, those of you that are members of Master Networks, like that's there, that's available if you haven't already gone through that.
And the other thing is to, feedback is the breakfast of champions. So get feedback from people.
Yeah.
I've got 2 ideas. What do you think is going to work? And they'll tell you.
Yeah. And I like that too. Like, so I think sometimes I put pressure on myself to like have one idea. Like I keep working it until I get one, but it takes so much pressure off when you be like, I could have 5 and then take those 5 to your people and say, which one's more memorable. It takes all the pressure off.
Pretty quickly, you'll know. They'll tell you.
Yeah.
And by their reaction, you'll figure out whether it was memorable or not.
Yeah, I like that. So if people are listening to this that are not associated with Master Networks, but they like this content, they're like, man, I'd love to have this type of resource available to me. How do they learn more about Master Networks?
Well, as always, they can go to masternetworks.com, right? And they can learn about me, about our organization. If they're interested in a local chapter, you can look on the map and find one. If you don't find one in your area, you don't see one, please reach out to us. We have people here that work full-time that will help you find a chapter and get one launched in your area and connect you with local business owners.
I love that. Awesome. Chaz, another great episode. I look forward to episode number 5. And as always, keep connecting, sharing, and prospering.
That's it, Chris. Take care.
Bye.